that'll ensure that the practicum goes as smoothly as possible. I'm a reservist, and I'm attached to Aberdeen Proving Ground Army Hearing Program, and I've been teaching these courses for the Army as a reservist for about 16 years. So virtual is new, and breaking the practicum up like this is new, so we are trying to find ways to maximize the class and ensure success. So let's talk about what you're going to receive. You're going to receive a box of equipment that will have computers in it, as well as audiometers. You will notice that there is a label that has a number that says computer 20. So each student should have a box and the corresponding computer. The computers will also have numbers on them, so make sure that the student has the correct box as well as computer, the same number. When you look at the supplies in there, you're going to see some hand sanitizer and some sanitary wipes, disinfectant wipes. These are very important, certainly with COVID right now, and if you're going to be sharing equipment or testing each other, if that situation is happening, you want to make sure that everything is clean and disinfected. If I'm coming to do your course live, then I'll bring this stuff with me, or we can use what you have if you prefer. You will also have a bag of hearing protection that will be provided. According to regulation of the course, we must evaluate and fit 4 types of hearing protection. So in your supply bag, you will have foam rollies, you will have quadriflange, which are the blue, and then you will have a package that has a hard case in it. These are the level dependent earplugs. Each student should have one of each because we are going to fit them and evaluate them. And that's part of the practicum exam. Now the 4th one that you don't see here is the earmuffs. And we've asked in an email that you might have received or should have received that you bring your own set of earmuffs. I'll have mine, and we will do the fitting of the earmuffs as well as evaluating if they are proper. You will also have a workbook in there. You may have downloaded this and printed it yourself, or it may be in the equipment. Each student needs to have their own workbook. You can write in these. These are yours certainly to take notes. But you'll also notice when you look in there, there's lots of data that we're going to enter. And these are so that we can create our test patients and our test situations in the computer. So you'll actually be able to test people and do some live data entry. And this is where you're going to find that information. So you want to have your textbook or your workbook handy with you. All right. With the computer, when you get the computer, if you open it up, actually let me set this over here, you will see this piece of paper in there. It's going to be laying inside the computer. This piece of paper is unique to your computer. It will have your computer, again, it'll say computer 20 up here. There will be 2 sets of passwords. The first set of passwords will get you into the Windows. The second set of passwords will get you into the Doors program. The Doors is located on the desktop once you get into Windows. Helpful hint, please enter these passwords slowly and correctly. You get 3 attempts. If on the 3rd attempt you still do not get it entered correctly, it will lock you out. Either system can lock you out. I possibly can walk you through unlocking your computer should that happen, certainly for virtual. If I'm live, I can do it. But it does take up a pretty good chunk of time to get somebody back up and running. Once you're locked out, the computer's dead, and we've got to walk through getting you unlocked. This course is pretty short already. Typically, I teach this in 4 full days. I know you've already done the didactic part, but you know, you've slept since we're going to do the practicum, and this is when you've got a live person and people will ask questions, a lot of questions. So we're going to review what you've learned as well as teach the practicum. So it's a lot of stuff to cover in the 2 days that we're going to work together. So we don't want anybody to get locked out because that does take up a pretty good chunk of learning time. So follow these passwords very closely. It does stay with your computer. Each computer has its own unique password. So that goes in there. The box is the audiometer. So we're going to open this box up, and I'm going to show you how to hook up the audiometer so that you can possibly get that done before we start the class. Because again, this is another item that can take up quite a bit of time. So watching this video will help get that set up properly. So we'll open up the lid. If you look on the top of the lid, you're going to see a picture. This is just going to show you how to pack it back in there once we're done with the class. Just a little bit of a guide. In there, you're going to have a mouse pad and a mouse. This is for your computer if you want to use it. I'm going to set these aside because mine is already set up over here. The audiometer is going to be in the bubble wrap. So we're going to take the audiometer out. And then you've got a series of cords and plugs and earphones, and we're just going to lay all of this out, and then we're going to go through how to connect all of this. And I'm going to set this box out of the way. All right. First thing you're going to look at is the power supply. Power supply has an electric cord, which you will plug in. Very obvious plug. Plug that in. Plug this into electricity into the wall. Once you have that plugged in, you should see a green light on the front of this. That lets you know that you've got electricity going to this box. This other plug that you see is actually turning on the box to the audiometer. So we're not going to do that. We're going to get everything hooked up first, and then once it's all hooked in, then we're going to come and turn on the audiometer. This device that you see is a little box with some tails on it. This is the interface that's going to connect the computer to the audiometer. So your electric supply is actually going to go into this little box right here. So on the side, you'll see the little plug that matches. The supply plugs in just like that. So that's plugged in. On the end of this, you'll see two cords, USB and an audio jack. The USB is going to plug into your computer. Now my computer is on a dock, a government computer, so I'm just going to plug it into my USB. You will not have a dock with your computers that we send you, so just plug it into the USB on the computer. Audio jack is going to go into your earphone jack, which mine is on the side. Wherever, I think yours are on the side too as well with those computers. So just plug it into the audio. That's important because when we are starting the test, you are going to hear the instructions. And all of you have taken a hearing test so that you know the instructions are read to you. And it starts out, you're about to take a hearing test. So we want to be able to hear those and know that those are going through. So plug that audio jack in so we can hear that. All right. This cord is just a very long cord that will have a male and a female end. So on your little box, the interface, you've got a male end. So we're going to take the obvious one that will fit and plug it in. Please tighten all these down. This ensures that we get good solid connections. When we go to calibrate, that's a possible reason that we might not calibrate if things aren't connected nice and tight. The other end is male, and if you look on the back of your audiometer, you will see the obvious place to plug it in. And we are going to plug that in and tighten it down. Now the audiometer is the little box that's down on the bottom. So if you look at this, you'll see the red and blue jacks in this little box. It does slide. It's on runners under this biological ear. So just kind of be careful with it. If it slides out, just slide it back in on the runners. So we want to tighten this down. This top box is our biological ear or our artificial ear. That's where we calibrate. We may have heard it called BioJo. It sets up on top, audiometer sets on the bottom. You will have a little jump cord here. That is going to connect your biological ear to your audiometer. So if you look on the front, you're going to see a port that says audiometer. You're going to plug one end into audiometer. On the audiometer, you're going to see a port that says response. You're going to plug this into the response. So basically, it's just a jump cord connecting these two together. Your earphones have a very obvious red and blue port or jack, but you're going to plug it into the red and blue port that you see here on the audiometer. Pretty self-explanatory there. Now, when we calibrate, we will put these earphones on the biological ear. But while we are, not using the artificial ear, I'd ask that you keep these off. The earphone tension and the alignment of the earphones is very important. If they stay for extended time on here, they can stretch out. So if you're not using them, just set them aside so that they don't get stretched out. Now, once all of that is connected, you want to come back over here and you want to hit this switch. If you move it to the white position, you've turned everything on, and you should see lights come up on the top of the BioJoe and on your audiometer. And that means you've got power going to it. You do want to leave this off until everything's hooked up so that you don't fry anything. So everything hooked up, switch it to the white dot. That turns it on. You should see lights. You should also see the green light on the top of this. The other cord that's in there is your response cord, or your response button. So this is when you're taking the test and you're hitting the button. If you look on the BioJoe artificial ear, you'll see the word response. That's where we're going to plug this in. We will be plugging this in and unplugging it throughout the course, depending on whether we're calibrating or we're not calibrating, we're doing functional check, or if you're testing. So that cord actually goes in and out a few times, and we'll do that in class. So that's how all of that is going to set up. When we are done with the class, we will tear it all down. You'll follow the guide in the box and put everything back in. Be sure the audiometer goes into the bubble wrap to protect it. Now, we will start with otoscopy at the class, and then we'll fit the hearing protection. And then we'll go into logging into doors and doing actual stuff on the computer and actually creating test cases. Once we're done, also reviewing as we go through, so any questions, certainly ask me. When we're done, we'll do the test. I'll proctor the written exam. You can do the DOD exam, or you can do the CAOC. The CAOC exam does give you that national certification that you can use outside of the military if you choose to. Either exam is acceptable for passing the course. If you want to take the CAOC exam, be sure that either I know, or Ms. Seaborn knows, or Lieutenant Colonel Merkley, so that we can make sure CAOC uploads the exam for you so you can take that. And I will proctor that during the class as well. But that's voluntary. I mean, that's not a requirement. Either the CAOC or the DOD exam is required, one of them. Then we'll do the practicum exam as well. We'll test you on the skills and mark you off on passing that. If you have any questions or anything does not look right with the equipment that you received, be sure and let us know immediately, and we'll try to get it taken care of. And I look forward to seeing you all and working with you and having a very successful class. Thank you.